Jai Ma, I have been asked to speak something about the mother on the occasion of her birthday, 21st February. In 2028, it will be her 150th birthday. So we are all eagerly looking forward to that. But what is strange and surprising is that both mother and Shurbindo are strangely not so well known. And often people ask this question. Even people who are living in a particular institution dedicated to Mother and Shubhito don't know much about them. So why is it so? And we can touch upon that a little bit. So one of the reasons why Shurbindo and the mother both, the mother even less, though she is so much more in many ways, but because they represent in the earth's spiritual history something very new, so new that human mind is unable to grasp it. And that's why when the mother started a group in France, she had called it the New Idea, Idea Nouvelle. And the same thing when she came to India, to Pondicherry, she started the New Idea. So if we dwell upon the new idea, we'll understand what they have brought to earth and why it is so difficult to understand the mother and Shurbindo. So this new idea, to begin with, is a synthetic idea. It is very difficult for the human mind to understand that. The human mind takes either or position. Either there is material life or there is spiritual life. Either there is worldly life or there is God driven person or the life of God. This division has been for so long. It has got imprinted, embedded in the human psyche all over the world, not only in India, all over the world. You see the monastic life, monasteries. So it's if you have to lead a spiritual life, you have to withdraw from worldly life. There have been compromises such as, okay, while you are in the world, inwardly you are learn to disengage, be detached, be separate, do your duties as well as you can, but keep your eyes fixed on God. There have been paths like that. The Gita itself describes that. Even Buddha, who is much misunderstood that he propagated sannyas, he propagated the middle path. He was very much in the world. He initiated his son as one of the first disciples. So, while being in the world but following the path of moderation, use the word middle path. So, this is what has been the story so far. But for the first time, Shurbinder and the mothers speak of not compromise, nor an either or position, nor that you can lead two parallel lives together, that you are in the material world and inwardly spiritual. There are so many theories and philosophies about it, I am not going to go into it. But the conquest of material life by the spiritual, which is a totally, this concept is there in the Vedas. But unfortunately, with the age of the Upanishads, it went into the background, it got sidelined. And what came into the foreground was this that, the world is an illusion or the world is a passing, transient thing. But to fill the transience with the permanence, to create immortal things out of transient things, that's a wonderful, work that we are here to do. And often I give this example. Shubinda uses this line in one of his poems to build eternity, to build immortality with transient things. So I give this example of Shurbinder himself. The pen, the paper, the typewriter, the ink, everything is transient. The brain, which receives the inspiration, the writing on paper, printing, all these are perishable, transient things. But Savitri, the magic of Savitri, and we can see the same thing about the Gita, the Vedas. So we are here, we have been given certain material, And though this material looks like an obstruction towards spiritual pursuit, but actually one has to return back on this material and use it for the spiritual fulfillment. Use it for what? Sri Aurobindo speaks about to fulfill earthly life, not abandoning it. So this is the new idea which the Mother and Sri Aurobindo bring, to fulfill. And it cannot be fulfilled till a greater divine perfection can be established here. And they say that yes, not only it can be established, a greater divine perfection in material existence, but it will be, and the hour has come to do it now. Now, when we look at all the outer appearances, they seem to contradict it. So, this idea is like a big leap, and all of us, many human beings, though it is the idea most consistent with our own aspiration. Ask anybody why he wants to escape from earthly life, he will say because it's field of suffering. But the moment you say, well, it's possible to make this a beautiful divine place, if it's possible, would you still want to run away? No. So this is the idea. Even Ram Rajya, for that matter, a divine kingdom upon earth. All these are ideas which are consistent with our aspiration. But because the appearance is contradicted, because perhaps it has not been attempted in the true way, therefore, the moment Sri Aurobindo brings that idea, the Mother brings that idea, we have a tendency to reject it. That no, it's not possible. Or if we accept it in principle, we don't like to put it in practice because we think it's not practicable. This is one reason. So, we see in Sri Aurobindo and the Mother a new synthesis of the spiritual and the material. Interestingly and paradoxically, of the West and the East. The West works towards material perfection, and the East has specialized in inner perfection, spiritual perfection. Where are they going to meet? And if I have to answer, I would say they have to meet in Sri Aurobindo's yoga. They can't meet just by having some seminars and conferences. In yoga, they meet, and the Mother and Sri Aurobindo are living examples of that. They have to meet as human consciousness takes that route. So this is a new idea where he synthesizes. Again, he synthesizes two seemingly very opposite things. And that is reason and faith. So often when we take to spiritual life, we are told you have to have faith. On the other side, there are people who have built schools of philosophies based on reason. Sri Aurobindo discards neither. If you read about all that he has written on faith, it's a whole gospel of faith. You can't take one step in front without faith toward the future. But does it mean that all that is beyond is all irrational? No, it's a different reason. The divine reason, call it super reason. After all, we use the word faith because all the theories that we have about this cosmos, which go beyond the realm of human experience, we are told you have to just believe in them. You have done some karma, therefore you are suffering, this. And obviously when they are not verifiable, we are asked to have belief. But Sri Aurobindo gives us a very cogent, logical reason for everything. So he represents the synthesis of reason and faith. Something which is what today's youth need very much. There is a crisis of faith and also a crisis of reason, strangely. So crisis of reason is what we saw in postmodernism. Crisis of faith came earlier, what we saw in modernism. Modernism was a crisis of faith. So man discarded all kinds of faith, logic, reason. Postmodernism is discard reason. It's all associations within the mind. So it's an acute crisis today we experience, because reason cannot explain everything, this sheer common sense. And equally, faith, you have to take a big leap to believe. You see suffering, pain, evil. Why is it so? You can't just blame it on human beings and their karma or whatever else. You can't just put a God sitting there with a carrot and stick and dealing like a CEO or super CEO. All that human consciousness will reject. But there is a logic behind what we go through, a divine logic, if you like. And there is also this faith which human beings have carried that life can be made perfect. This faith is also justified. So Sri Aurobindo brings a synthesis of reason and faith. He also creates a synthesis, both Sri Aurobindo and the mother, of all the different aspects of our existence. The Gita created a synthesis between thought and will and feeling. And action should be inspired by that. Tantra also tried to create a synthesis. Tantra is a very bold path which tried to create a synthesis between nature and the divine. It didn't discard nature. It kept on exploring nature, expanding the circle of nature, till it went to the fount of nature, Mahamaya. But then, through the blessings of Mahamaya, it crossed over to the other side. That's where it stopped. But Sri Aurobindo speaks of this nature not only being transcended by the Purusha or the Ishvara, but being transformed because there is a supernature. Gita hints about it. Gita says that there is this nature and there is this my nature. Now I'll tell you the two. And then Shri Krishna explains all about his nature. But human beings can embody that nature. We can not only realize the divine within us, but we can manifest the divine. So again, it's a completely new idea. Before Sri Aurobindo, we have these two ideas. One is world is Maya, an illusion, which is the most paradoxical. All these sages going around the world saying world is illusion is the biggest paradox. If the world is illusion, you are illusion, people are illusion, then whom are you waking up from illusion? But they travel around the world. There are people who are very happy to hear world is an illusion. After hearing that world is an illusion, they come out and then they get engaged in the world just as before. They use this as a euphemism. Whenever there is a problem, they say, after all, this is all Maya. And then there was another idea that world is a Leela. Leela is a mysterious event. God knows why He is doing what He is doing. But it's not a Maya, things are happening. But it's a Leela. Leela means unfolding. Divine is unfolding. But why? Is there a purpose? We don't know. And Sri Aurobindo and the mother for the first time say there is a purpose. And the divine is, this whole creation is a manifestation of the divine. Again, a very new idea. Then another radical idea, new idea. And all of them are logical. If you really look at just a little, we'll find them most logical. At least as a child, I used to wonder, how can it be that evolution finishes with man? But you read any spiritual textbook, they will say it finishes with man. You read biological textbook, naturally they are mute on the subject. If at all there has to be further modification, human beings will do it through genetic engineering, robotics and all that. But logically, the power that has evolved man out of dust cannot stop there. So he brings this idea, carries this idea. Vedanta speaks of inner evolution, wherein through the cycle of lives, the human soul reaches a high point where it begins to wonder, who am I? Who am I laboring here? It turns towards its source and then vanishes in its source. This is Vedantic idea of inner evolution. And there is the biological idea of evolution of forms. But is there a correspondence between the two? Well, no. Or if at all, the idea is forms evolve so that the inner soul goes through the experiences till it is ready for that ultimate plunging. But Sri Aurobindo and the mother for the first time, they bring in the new significance of this double evolution which is taking place at the level of form and at the level of the inner consciousness, at the level of the soul. It's a completely new idea. And it's very surprising. Why is it not engaging human minds? Maybe because we get totally perplexed. Politically, you see, one of the biggest challenges is the Marxists find very difficult to discard Sri Aurobindo. I'm talking of an extreme left wing. And the right wing finds it difficult to discard Sri Aurobindo. And both of them pick up bits and parts of Sri Aurobindo. Why? Because Sri Aurobindo speaks of matter, materialism. He speaks of divine communism. That's a word that Sri Aurobindo uses. The future will be of a divine communism. Commune will be the way of life where everybody shares. But the basis of divine communism is not biology. It is spirituality. So this the Marxist cannot swallow. Communist can't swallow. But equally, when he speaks about the other aspect, the extreme right wing, he talks about, okay, God, you believe in God. But they ultimately find very difficult when they handle political systems, economics. Now it is coming up because this Sanatan Dharma has started rising. Sri Aurobindo speaks of all these aspects of human existence, which includes politics, economics, relationships, institutions, education. Everything in the light of the growing spirit of man. As for evolution, he sees the emergence of a new species. Both of them work towards the creation of a new species, something which again should be logic, common sense, both. But somehow we don't think like that man's problem can be solved by the further evolution of man. This is basic thing actually in psychology. One of the things that I have learned is that the level at which you have the problem, you cannot solve it at that level. The problem is given so that you can evolve. And all crisis is a spur towards evolution. If you remain at the same level, the crisis will return, repeat, ad nauseam, ad infinitum. All crisis is the urge to go to next level. That's what the Gita one can summarize. That Arjuna's crisis cannot be solved if he remains at the same level. He can't just go back and do his duty because his duty as a Kshatriya is one, his duty as a family member is quite different. His crisis comes because of the confusion of dharmas. But he has to rise above and say neither for family nor for, Kshatriya, dharma. None of these are my ultimate motives, but to be an instrument of the divine and fulfill his dharma. That's the end of the story. So he rises. When he rises to the next level, he is able to find the solution. So once again we see Sri Aurobindo and the mother bidding us to rise beyond man to find the solutions that vex humanity. They are the only spiritual masters who don't cancel any human aspiration. Is that master line in Savitri? Heaven's touch fulfills, but cancels not our earths. They don't cancel anything. They don't take. There is another line in Savitri. Each part in us desires its absolute. In our darkest parts, there is room for deepest needs. Who could write these things? So there is nothing which is trivial, insignificant, unimportant. You have to just do it as a duty and finish it. So this is, they spoke about the new being, creation of a new race, not just one being, two being, but a new race, the supramental race. And finally, the greatest new idea that even this material body can be, must be, will be one day divinized. This again very logical. If you see, all change of form is ultimately a degree of transmutation. The form of dead matter is taken up by plant, same matter, but it becomes living matter inside the plant and the animal. Or plant, let's go step by step. Plant is eaten by the animals and it becomes not only just living matter, it becomes feeling matter. Animals can feel. And then the next level, the same matter, we also ultimately, if you go back to the last analysis, we are dhul-mitti. We are taking in the same mud through plant or whatever, and it gets transformed into thought. Thinking matter, we are able to think. So what prevents that next level? We'll have bodies made of spiritual light, Bodies, this very clay made of clay, which we despise or which we mistreat, in fact abuse, this body can grow into a divine body. Not only is it logical, but Sri Aurobindo says it's inevitable in the course of, in this very logic of things, supramental evolution. So these are just some of the new ideas. There are many others. But it requires a great wideness of mind, plasticity of mind. Minds which are stuck in the past grooves find very difficult, because nothing endures like habit and comfort zones. That's why religious people find very difficult sometimes to turn to Sri Aurobindo. Or when they turn to Sri Aurobindo, they want to turn him again into another religion, another Babaji, another, which is okay if you want to do it like that, but that's not what Sri Aurobindo is. He is a revolution, he is fire. You don't keep fire in a small little place, it'll burn away your house. Better be ready to be burnt. If you touch the fire of Sri Aurobindo and the mother would say that don't touch yoga if you're not ready to grow sincere, because it'll burn you. Sri Aurobindo and the mother are the future. As mother said, future advance, luminous future, advancing towards its own realization. They bring hope, and we like to remain cynics. It's so strange. If you read Sri Aurobindo and the mother, you can never ever in life after that feel loss of hope. But people prefer a hopeless situation. This is world, Maya. One day we have to leave it. Okay, if you want to leave it today. No, not like that. We have become worshippers of death, not worshippers of immortality. All the philosophies which teach us to look upon earthly life with disdain as something which is very, they for the first time teach us that in matter there is the concealed spirit. Again, new idea, wide idea, subtle idea. And the biggest challenge is to orthodoxy. People have all these are orthodox positions, including intellectual dogmas and ideologies. I call them all orthodox, rigidly held within their framework. So if you ask Sri Aurobindo and the mother, what do we have to do this? Shall we build a temple for you? Go and worship every day. They will say enough of that. So what do? We'll give a lot of money. People do a lot of, money. I met today somebody from Kumbh. I said, did you meet a Naga sadhu? He said, yes. I said, does it talk to you? He said, yes. He said, did he charge money? He said, first you have to give money, then he will talk to you. I said, smart sadhu. First you have to keep money. So imagine, man is not attached even to clothes. What a paradox. You ask Sri Aurobindo and the mother, what do we have to do? They would say, change. Readiness to change, willingness to change. But we can't change by, oh yeah, the help is there. You don't have to. Mother will change you. They have not left any loophole, huh? That yes, I know we want to change, but very difficult yoga. Sir, how can we change? No. You don't have to do it. You have to open to the mother, surrender to her. Now what do we have to say? People say we can't even surrender. All life you have surrendered to 100 things, 100 people. I can't surrender. Anyways, so this yoga obviously is not for those who don't have the courage to surrender. It requires great courage. But they have brought to the world the assurance of a divine and luminous future. And the best homage we can serve to Sri Aurobindo and the mother. Often people ask, how do we celebrate the birthday? It's not through jing bang, bhajan, dance, singing. We can do it, apni shraddha, as But the real way to really, what does a mother feel most happy about? She feels most happy when she sees that the child is realizing the dream that she had implanted in the child. Nothing can give a parent more happiness than to see the child realizing, in fact, not even parents' dream, but the child's own fullest potential. Ask a mother. Mother is okay. Temporarily, she is happy. If with your first pay, you bring something, she is happy. But next day, you are leading all kinds of things. So, if you really want to, if you really want to celebrate mother's birthday, the best way is to once again strengthen our resolve, make it more sincere. That I want to lead my life the way she wants me to live. I want to grow more sincere. Because that is something which will really make her happy. Once the mother says with regard to worship, she says, she was asked all these worship of gods and all, and she was describing all about these gods. She had met every god of every religion. She speaks about it. There is a whole world. But then at one point, she suddenly says, do you think that beings of the higher world are really happy if you do all this to them? This used to be my thought also, that everybody is taking a coconut and breaking it in front of poor God. Have some mercy on him. You know, and then with loud music, my God, it's jarring even to human ears. How does he bear? Once I really said, Ganpati, heads off to you. How do you suffer all this human torture? And I felt that he communicated. I can't help it. I am bound to my devotees. I said, thankfully, we don't have any. I passed. I was feeling sad. I was really feeling sad. So gods have to suffer all this. That's not what they want. She said, do you really believe a being of a higher consciousness will want all this? That you do all these puja and he'll be very happy. Ah. But she says, if you have a movement of true love, of beauty, of giving, a noble gesture, an act of kindness, a thought which is really climbing towards the heights, a moment of true aspiration, self-giving. This is that the gods see and improve. So, if you really want to celebrate the birthday, this is how it should be done. Outer things are fine, but real thing is that how far we are ready to live our life according to what they have come to show to us. And in that measure, we'll move forward. If we don't do it, they don't compel anybody. They have given to everybody freedom of choice. If we want to remain part of the old species, we remain part of the old species. But this is going to collapse. Collapse probably not in too distant a future. So finally, the choice is left to us. Mother has left a choice to man. Truth or the abyss, or whether we want to belong to the old, or we want to take a leap towards the future. That's what one of her message was, with which we can stop. Blessed are those who take a leap towards the future. Jai Ma.